Good morning, everyone. Let's all have a seat, please. Good morning, Commissioners. Chief Jim McDonald, Executive Director, Mr. Django Sibley, Madam Secretary, Inspector General, who is now Assistant Brian Buckner, Mr. City Attorney Carlos de la Guerra, and members of the public. Today is Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. It is 9:30 a.m. This is a regular meeting of the Los Angeles Board of Police Commissioners. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Good morning. Please let the record reflect Commissioners Sanchez Gordon, Shields, Scobin, and Tabor are present, and we have a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you. We welcome everyone attending this meeting today. All public comment will be heard during item 2 on the agenda. We will dedicate a total of 60 minutes, if needed, more time for public comment. Members of the public will have 1 minute per agenda item for a maximum of 2 minutes total. At the request of the speaker will be given 1 additional minute for general public comment for a maximum of 3 minutes total. Members of the public, if you choose to participate in the public comment portion of the agenda, you may. You can participate in this meeting in a number of ways outlined in the agenda. Members of the public who participate in public comment are reminded that they can speak to any item on the agenda or a matter within the jurisdiction of the Board of Police Commissioners. Public comment is your opportunity to address the board, so you are free to express your opinion on matters before the board and to generally express when you disagree with other opinions expressed. However, directing your comments to other individuals who have spoken or attacking others who have expressed their opinions shall be off topic and your public comment period will be concluded. Message for those attending in person. These meetings are regular meetings between the board, the department, and key stakeholders. Meetings of the Board of Police Commissioners are open to the public. The state's Ralph M. Brown Act affords the public the opportunity to be present at the meetings, hear the presentations and dialogue in real time, and provide feedback via the public comment period. During these meetings, there is a need for the board to carry out the public business expeditiously without delays or disruptions. Members of the audience shall not engage in any conduct which causes an actual disruption of the meeting. Those attending in person are reminded that disruptive behavior will be cause for removal. If you disrupt this meeting, you will be provided with only 1 warning to cease disruptive behavior. If you fail to cease such behavior, you will be removed from the meeting. All attendees must be seated. Failure to follow this rule will result in a warning and/or removal from the meeting. With that, we will move to item 1, the report of the Chief of Police. Chief McDonald.
Morning, President Sanchez Gordon, Commissioners, Inspector General Barragan, City Attorney De La Guerra, and Executive Director Sibley. Today's report will cover the prior 2-week period since there was no scheduled meeting last week. I'll highlight key events, share our current crime stats, and provide an update on our current staffing levels. On the weekend of March 28th, many of our officers, along with teams from across the country and as far away as Germany, participated in the Baker to Vegas Relay. It's an event that many look forward to each year as teams race across the desert for a total of 120 miles. This year, however, the conditions were especially challenging, with temperatures exceeding 106 degrees along the course. Tragically, we lost one of our own. Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Deputy Levi Vargas passed away while participating in the race. This was a difficult loss, not only for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, but for all of us. Baker to Vegas is more than a race. It's a tradition that brings our departments together. When something like this happens, it's felt across the entire law enforcement community. On behalf of the Los Angeles Police Department, I want to extend our heartfelt condolences to Deputy Vargas's family and to the men and women of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. We're thinking of you during this difficult time. On April 3rd, 2026, approximately 1 a.m., uniformed officers assigned to 77th Street Patrol Division responded to a radio call of an assault with a deadly weapon at a gas station located near 11510 South Vermont Ave in southeast area. The call indicated that a shooting had occurred and that the victim had been struck by gunfire. The suspect was described as a 45-year-old male Hispanic wearing a black sweater and black pants, last seen fleeing westbound on Imperial Highway. While canvassing the area for the suspect, 77th Street Patrol Division officers observed a male Hispanic, later identified as Eliar Real Hernandez, who matched the broadcast description. Hernandez was walking on the sidewalk while holding a handgun pointed at his head. One of the officers issued multiple verbal commands in an effort to gain compliance. However, Hernandez failed to comply and subsequently turned toward the officers, resulting in an officer-involved shooting. Hernandez was struck by gunfire and taken into custody without further incident. Officers immediately rendered medical aid and requested the response to the Los Angeles Fire Department. Upon arrival, LAFD personnel assessed Hernandez and pronounced him deceased at the scene. The investigation determined that Hernandez was in possession of a loaded 9mm ghost gun, which was recovered at the scene and booked as evidence. No officers or additional community members were injured during the incident. Personnel from Force Investigation Division responded to the scene and assumed investigative responsibility. Year to date, we're at 5 officer-involved shootings compared to 9 at the same point last year. On April 1st, Metropolitan Division B Platoon conducted a focused operation involving a burglary crew known as the Glendale Commercial Crew. The crew is believed to be responsible for at least 17 commercial burglaries across Los Angeles and Glendale. Using investigative tools, officers located the crew in the early morning hours of April 1st. Believing there was a burglary in progress, the officers established surveillance in the Culver City area. Officers observed the suspects fleeing a business as an alarm sounded. While maintaining surveillance, Culver City Police Department confirmed a burglary had occurred. In coordination with Culver City PD and LAPD Southwest Division, officers were able to take 2 suspects into custody. The suspects were booked for burglary. Following the arrest, detectives served search warrants resulting in the recovery of additional evidence. Investigators are continuing to work toward filing a total of 18 cases. This operation reflects the department's commitment to proactive enforcement, precision policing, and strong regional partnerships to identify and hold repeat offenders accountable. For the period of March 23rd through April 5th, the following protest activity occurred. On Thursday, March 26th, a school walkout took place in Central area. Approximately 15 students gathered at LA City Hall, then walked to the Federal Detention Center before dispersing at around 1400 hours. The event remained peaceful with no incidents to report. On Saturday, March 28th, the No Kings 3.0 protest occurred in Central area with an estimated attendance of approximately 6,000 participants. Protesters assembled at Grand Park, marched to Pershing Square, and ultimately concluded at the Federal Detention Center. During the event, multiple criminal incidents were reported, including assaults with a deadly weapon, vandalism, and possession of concealed weapons. An unlawful assembly was declared. A total of 63 adults and 8 juveniles were arrested for failure to disperse. 1 additional adult was arrested for possession of a dirk or dagger. And during the course of one arrest, the suspect sustained a law enforcement-related injury, which required the response from Force Investigation Division to conduct the investigation. 1 officer sustained minor cuts and bruises. Additional No Kings 3.0 demonstrations occurred throughout the city with no significant incidents reported. Van Nuys area had approximately 500 participants, West Valley also 500, North Hollywood approximately 1,500, Devonshire approximately 250, and Topanga about 2,000 participants. This past Saturday on April 4th, there was a protest in Central area organized by the Chinatown Community for Equitable Development. There were about 40 participants, and at one point some participants entered the roadway, but when advised by LAPD to remain out of the street, they complied. The event remained peaceful and there were no incidents to report. On Sunday, April 5th, there was a Free Iran protest in West Valley area. There were approximately 200 participants. The event remained peaceful, and again, no incidents to report. Crime for the week ending April 4th, an analysis is based on offense counts through April 4th, 2026. Compared to year-to-date 2025, combined persons and property crimes are down 15.7%, representing 4,680 fewer crimes. Person crimes are down 3.5%, while property crimes have declined by 18.8%. Looking specifically at violent crime, homicides are down 20% year-to-date, representing 13 fewer victims compared to this time last year. Victims shot are down 24.5%. Aggravated assaults are up 1% year-to-date, and while we've seen a slight increase, there's no identifiable pattern. We'll continue to closely monitor these cases and analyze data to identify any developing patterns and adjust our deployment accordingly. Robberies are down 8.2%. Burglaries are down 33.3%, with residential burglaries down 34.8%. Non-residential burglaries are also down 30.8%. Motor vehicle thefts are down 29.4%. For our personnel strength, sworn personnel as of April 7th is 8,677. Civilian personnel staffing is at 2,457, and we currently have 346 reserve officers. An update on our IOD and temporary restrictions. A total of 743 sworn employee, or 8.54% of our workforce, and 335 civilian employees, or almost 14%, are currently not available for full-duty status, which include employees on IOD, long-term sick, FMLA, and duty restrictions. That concludes my report to the Commission this morning, Madam President.
Thank you, Chief. Let's hear from our commissioners. They do have questions directed to you. Let's start with Commissioner Shields.
Thank you, Chief, for the report. With respect to a couple of things, the No Kings demonstration, we are still getting reports from the Los Angeles Press Club and others about officers not understanding the injunction, not getting a supervisor when asked, or, the press not having access that they're supposed to have during demonstrations, and potentially journalists being detained. Did you receive any reports along those lines, and what are we doing to make sure that the officers understand the injunction and the terms of the injunction?
Yeah, our officers understand the terms of the injunction. We've put that out a number of times throughout the department in briefings. They're briefed up on what our policies and procedures are relative to those issues. I am not aware of any complaints specifically. I'll look into that and see where we are. That's not to say we haven't had people raise the issue. I'll get an update on that. As far as the challenges we face are that people identify often after the fact or when they refuse to leave an area as media that would not appear to be media to the officer on the street. We do the best we can as far as trying to be able to sort that out and give access to the people who should have access.
It would be good to report back as to what specific complaints have occurred and whether any protesters were journalists were detained. And again, it's really when the LAPD declares an unlawful assembly, it'd be good for us to get a presentation on what does that mean for what happens with press, so that we understand and make sure that the proper protocols are in place, and again, that the line officers understand to call a supervisor if someone from the press declares that they are from the press. And then my other question is about developments both with the Charter Commission and other things coming out of City Council, like changing or proposals about auditing with the department. Has the department looked at the ramifications of those proposals, and will we be getting any reports on the department's views on those proposals?
Yes, we'll be happy to. This is so much in flux at this point. What's been proposed will be changed many times before it ever reaches the ballot, if it does reach the ballot. So we're happy to work with you as it works its way through the process, which is cumbersome, and one that I do think will see significant changes in that regard. Let me go back, if I could, a second to when we talk about access to the media, access to the press, the working media that we work with and around every single day, never a problem. They have full access to everywhere they should have. The issues come up when somebody claims to be media that do not appear to be media and are not the people that officers deal with in the street on a regular basis. Somebody who may be a blogger, somebody may be new media, if that's the right term. So it's not something that is as clear as it may appear. Our relationship with the working media, the traditional media, if you will, I don't think is as good anywhere in the country as we find ourselves here.
Thank you. I think those are my questions for now. Thank you, President.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let's hear from Commissioner Tabor.
Thank you for the report, Chief. I was waiting. I don't have any questions for you at this time. I do want to, however, share that over this past weekend, there was a community event in Lermar Park, Jefferson Park area. Officers had been invited to have a booth, and it turned out we ended up with 4 officers. I want to recognize them now. Officer Augustin Orozco, Officer Derek Vaughn, Officer Kevin Payne, and Sergeant Brandon Pollard spent the better part of 6 hours at the event, talking with young people, engaging in their activities, and also talking to their parents and guardians who were also present. This, to my knowledge, was the first opportunity that I've had to see officers not responding to a particular event other than being present in the community. I think that kind of activity helps to build a level of trust and understanding, an opportunity for conversion. I'd like to see more of it if we can.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Scobin.
Good morning. Chief, going back to the protest incident in front of the Federal Detention Center, do you know offhand what, if any, less lethal crowd control weapons were used by LAPD versus the feds?
Yeah, I know gas was deployed, or I was told gas was deployed by the federal agents there. We did not do that. There was minimal less lethal munitions deployed by LAPD. As far as specific numbers, I can get you that.
Yeah, it'd be good for the public to understand the difference.
Yeah.
Also, I want to echo some of what Commissioner Shields said. It's clear that in very challenging situations that we still have challenges as it relates to the press in those situations, and we've received several complaints in that fact. I do look forward to the upcoming presentation on the department's crowd control tactics, and specifically ask that there be sections dedicated to our dealings with the press. Also, specifically, I'd like to see included in there all that the department is doing to ensure compliance with the injunction. I hear what you're saying about the efforts that we're making to make sure officers know about it. We're just hearing, I think, some different things that maybe it's not as clear. So I think for the sake of transparency, it'd be good to understand all that we're doing and see if there's any areas of opportunity for improvement.
No, absolutely. Just for background, we deploy a lieutenant and officers from media relations to the scene at a major event like this to deal specifically with the media on issues of access and verification of who belongs behind the lines or to stay in a closed area. So that's something that is relatively new, but something that I think will be very helpful in the big picture.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. I think that the concerns of the commissioners indicate that they want to make sure that compliance with the injunction is had, and that all our officers know exactly what the terms are of the injunctions as it relates to the media, as it relates to calling of supervisors. And also, I think that it's important that the community know what exactly it all entails when there's a declaration of unlawful assembly. And you indicated that there were 60-some people that were arrested, adults. And I think that more attention to that from yourself and all the supervisors in regards to the language of ED 17 is very important. So I would encourage you, Chief, to just keep it on top of the list, and we're going to continue seeing protests if it's not the King's March, or if it's school walkouts or other types of protests in Chinatown or other parts of the city. We're going to continue, our city is going to continue to protest and make their voices heard. So I would encourage that we know exactly what the language is of the injunction and the languages of ED 17.
Great.
All right. We move on. Any other questions from any of the commissioners? Commissioner Tabor, you had an additional question?
Chief, there was an article that I saw, I want to say it was in the LAOS, but it may have been in a more local newsletter regarding a graduation of individuals who had completed a training in visual arts. It happened, I'm trying to recall, I was looking for it.
It was Hollenbeck.
In Hollenbeck. And it was reported that the young men were essentially crossing the street, getting a cup of coffee, and then stopped by the police, and there was do you have any additional information on that, and where are we with that?
Yeah, we're aware of that. There is an investigation into that. I'll get you an update on where that is. What was reported is definitely being looked into.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Okay, we move on now to public comment. Madam Secretary?
Okay, the first speaker is Margarita Carranza on general public comment, 1 minute.
Good morning.
Is this on? Okay.
It's on.
Pardon me? Okay, thank you. My complaint is against Los Angeles Police Department in Van Nuys, Detective Ward. She failed to investigate my criminal robbery offense. I've been here before, and I've been pleading with Chief McDonald to please ask her to investigate this multi-million-dollar robbery heist that was authorized by City Attorney Mike Fuhrer in 2022. And these attorneys are covering up, have covered up. They're all lying. The City of Los Angeles, I have gone to the City Attorney's office. I have gone to the Mayor's office. I have gone to the City Controller's office. No one will release the information to me because I am the plaintiff and I am not allowed. I am to talk to these criminal specialized attorneys to tell me what they did wrong. There's multi-million dollars that have been robbed in 2022. These attorneys in 2022 purchased real estate, one in Calabasas, one law firm in Burbank. They have laundered, they have lied, and every investigator or questionable person, official that goes to Tigran Martinian, the specialized criminal attorney, gets turned away. Detective Ward was turned away. She was brainwashed. She was told this is a civil matter. This is not a civil matter. This is a robbery. I filed a police report, and it was for ID theft. I gave them my information over the phone. We talked over the phone. I never signed anything. This is not a $25,000 case from the city again, that I sued the city of Los Angeles property injuries. It's not $25,000. The city paid the attorneys $25,000. They issued me multi-millions because they cross-complained against the property owner of the corner where I fell. And both crossed each other in court, and they had to pay half of my injury settlement that was awarded by City Attorney Mike Fewer. Everyone that I have questioned turns me back to the attorney. Somebody has to investigate the defendants, not the criminal attorney. I am pleading, Jim McDonald, please order Detective Ward to fully investigate this matter. This is from 2022. They said I was present in Superior Court. That's a lie. I fired them before they finished this case.
Next, we have Steve Riley over Zoom.
Good morning. Hello? Hello?
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello?
1 second, sir. Okay, go ahead. You have 3 minutes.
The United States of America is a constitutional republic. Christ is king, and all lives matter. I'd like to commend Chief McDonald for his excellent report today, as usual, and thank him for the Chief's April message. If you haven't seen it, it's on lapdonline.org. It is outstanding. Some of the words that jump out from his message are trust, consistency, and collaboration. Very important concepts. The way we build trust is by everyone at every level, at every rank, doing their job. And there are many out there doing an excellent job at LAPD, from the streets into police headquarters. So thank you. One thing I noticed too is that Chief McDonald holds the LAPD to high standards. And that's very important. If you're going to increase recruitment and solve the retention problem, people have to aspire to joining a department and being part of a department with high standards, not lowering the standards and not double standards. And I emphasize double standards, one standard for all. That improves morale. I also want to talk about the issue of pretext stops. City Council President Marquise made a comment. He had quite a bit of time to make it. I noticed that on the lapdonline.org, under public comment, there are 2 letters posted from a group, Voices for LAPD. One addresses a specific issue which cannot be addressed in 3 minutes. I do want to thank Deputy Chief Imada Tingarides and Captain Shannon White for an outstanding presentation that was factual and educational, as opposed to the LA Push presentation, which was basically anti-police, racialist propaganda. There are people today in that room with signs, ICE out of LAPD. I want you to reimagine a sign with a heart in the middle. LAPD loves ICE, ICE loves LAPD. They're both law enforcement working together, collaborating for the greater good and public safety of LA City and the country. They should be working together, LA City should be working together to enforce the rule of law impartially. Again, I want to thank the LAPD for doing an excellent job. This is the first meeting since Easter. Happy Easter to you all. May we have hope and renewal and reflect on these things. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Jamie,
Stuck outside. Should let her in.
I'll go for Jamie. Don't worry, guys.
followed by Megan.
Also stuck outside. Because you won't let her in.
The next speaker is Andrew Gravener.
We're calling the speakers. You will have your turn.
Andrew Gravener.
Greatner?
Is this mic on? I'm called. I don't know.
There's other people with
Excuse me, Madam Secretary, what name is next?
Andrew Gravener.
Andrew Greatner, have a
You just
seat.
skipped 2 people who you didn't let into the room.
Excuse me. The guy with the mask, I'm asking you to have a seat. Your name will be called.
I mean, like, people signed up for.
You are being warned. This is your first and last warning.
You really should let everyone in. There's tons of space.
Mr. Greitner, your time is running.
What? You've got 2 rows that are pretty much blocked off for some reason. I guess it's the little special row for that one cop and the few staffers over there. You should let people in, fill all the space in, and hear from the public. But you don't want to do that because you hate the public. You're not here to serve the public. You've got the chief's report with them openly lying, openly disparaging members of the press. It doesn't matter if the press has gone through their little, gone through the LAPD's little, vetting process and paid the LAPD money because those press passes aren't even free. And it's hard for those independent journalists to afford those increasing costs of the press passes. You should actually let the press, actually document the protests. But you don't want to do that because you don't want the shit that you're doing documented on camera. You're repeatedly assisting ICE, lying about it on TV and everywhere, and people are believing this, Chief, which is what's even more dangerous. People are trusting the LAPD when the LAPD is repeatedly assisting ICE. And this whole commission won't do a damn thing about it. This whole commission is just here to rubber stamp everything and not actually do anything. You don't even want to hear from the public. You don't even want to let the public in the room. You have 2 rows that are almost empty. You have empty seats here, and you won't let anyone in. And you limit the call-in comment. You limit the total comment. You've got Jim McDonnell actively gloating about partying with ICE. He talked about the Baker to Vegas thing. I wonder how many people were aware that ICE is part of Baker to Vegas. ICE has a team in Baker to Vegas. So this department was out in the desert partying with ICE. He won't even admit that. But that was what LAPD was doing. An event that hosts and celebrates ICE agents, and LAPD was there, partying alongside ICE. And none of you have any questions whatsoever about that. But, of course, we all know that you don't have any questions about that. You're not here to hold the LAPD accountable. You're not even allowed to hold the LAPD accountable. You're on this commission to rubber stamp everything, to fulfill the needs of Karen Bass, who's completely compromised by the LAPPL, and they're the ones that have Jim McDonnell. That's why Jim McDonnell is the chief. That's why Karen Bass won't do a damn thing to hold this chief accountable, or neither this commission, even though Jim McDonnell is repeatedly assisting ICE. LAPD violence has skyrocketed. They're attacking press. They have numerous restraining orders and injunctions. Let everyone in.
The next speaker, Jason Reedy. Jason Reedy. Fia.
Attended the Saturday No Kings protest as an independent photojournalist covering events with a larger group of independent journalists from across the West Coast at No Kings to document people demonstrating their Second Amendment. We as press were abused, intimidated, and targeted by LAPD. Jim McDonnell is right that his officers do understand the injunction and still attack press members that have duly identified themselves. LAPD doesn't get to decide, Jim McDonnell, I'm looking at you, who constitutes as press. An award-winning fucking journalist was pushed, his camera was pushed, and he was pushed into a fence after duly identifying himself. He was then threatened with arrest by your fucking officers, and you're up here saying, oh, there was no abuse of press that you can speak to. You've been given 2 fucking weeks. Get your shit together. You're the chief of police. How can you not know that your officers are abusing media members? How can you not know that award-winning journalists are being pushed by your officers, having their cameras obstructed? How can you not speak to the fact that multiple journalists were pushed away from covering your officers breaking a 7 17-year-old's femur after he was detained on the floor. How can you not speak to any of that? How can you not speak to the way that media has been consistently treated? Look at me when I'm talking to you, Jim. You've looked at everyone else. Look over here. You don't like what I'm saying now, so you're going to look away like a coward? How dare you stand here and try to convince this group of people that will not even hold you accountable? They have all the power to, and they still won't, and you still feel the need to lie to them about your officers' behavior, because that is how deep the corruption runs in this city. That is how deep your corruption runs. You should be removed immediately, and I hope the next mayor is good enough to actually instruct the city attorney to press charges against you and your department for hiding, for allowing ICE officers to hide, because you know as well as any of us do that your officers moonlight. They moonlight as ICE officers, and that's why you don't want to enforce the mask ban. That is why you refuse to have officers enforce laws that have been passed by the people that represent us that will keep us safe. LAPD acts as attack citizens, raking up lawsuits in the process so that they can protect ICE while attacking us. This is a reflection of your shared goals and histories as oppressive institutions. And as we can continue to approve more and more of our tax dollars to be used to pay out your settlements incurred by abusive and deadly cops, we must ask ourselves, what is this institution's purpose and why does it exist? When we look at the actions of LAPD, it is clear what their purpose is. They are merely an extension of the federal government, just like ICE. They wear the facade of local institutions, but at the end of the day, whose orders do they follow? Who do they protect? It is not the people of Los Angeles. It is Trump's Nazi Gestapo. LAPD and the police department around the country exist to protect the powerful as they abuse the weak. If the Trump administration is wielding ICE and DHS as a weapon against the people, the local PD are the shield that protects him.
The next speaker, Tran Son Ha. Tran Son Ha. He's on his way. Tran Son Ha.
Good morning, everybody. I love all of you. I'm here fighting with the worldwide corporation, corrupt system. They control USA and they control the President United States of America. It's very dangerous, failed system. When the failed system, the whole country, you hear just fighting for terrible, you know, it never fix it. But I'm here. I come to LA PD. I know this place very small for them, but the good thing is all American people and all human rights around the world, they will stand with Jim McDonnell and with LAPD. We together, we fight with the worldwide corporation and telling them, say, hey, you gotta respect us, treat us like human right. You know, then I see a lot of people here with no eyes in LAPD. I with you. Eyes, it look terrible for America. It look very sad, you know. So, and thank you, Jim McDonnell. So please do all your best. If you bring me to all American people and to all human rights around the world, it will change. I'm sure nobody can do it, but I here with LAPD and Los Angeles, we will change the world better. We will do it. So pray for me. Remember, my name is Tran Son Ha. I love all of you. I don't come here use the LAPD to suing anybody for the money. I don't want it, but I'm okay with money. I'm poor man, but I'm okay. I don't need it. It's all I want is safety for us. You know, the system is wrong. They don't kill you by gun or knife, but they kill you all of you by medication. That's why we have the mental health crisis all over USA. It's very dangerous. We want to fix that problem. No, I'm talking, but it's safety for us. I'm sorry you get mad to me, but pray for me. Right. I love you. I already say I love you. I don't fight with you. but pray for me. If you don't pray for me, you just fighting for nothing. Judge me.
Excuse me. The gentleman in the second row, yes, you. A gentleman in the second row with a black shirt and the gold X. You're being disruptive. This is your first and last warning. Continue.
Trust me. So I am the only one with you to fix the problem. Otherwise, nobody care what you're doing, you know? Thank you.
The next speaker is Audit LA.
Thank you. Good morning. I want to talk about what I'm going to be changing subjects. I need to talk about what happened on Easter Sunday. I notified the board, the commission, the chief, and Northeast Division that Scientology was granted a permit, but that the rules of the permit are that the sidewalks, even though on the permit it says it's a closed sidewalk, that just means it's within their control, but that it's open to pedestrians, and they have to keep it open, and they have to have signs saying it's open. But that's not what happened. So I know that during roll call, Northeast Division, they did talk about it and say, and they did notify their officers. And I don't know if it was Scientology or what was able to go to the Central Bureau and get another officer, sergeant, to sign off on their will to close the sidewalk. And that is prior restraint. It's against the law. They're violating my rights. And was it because, I don't know, because I'm not a fan of Scientology, or I'm a Christian, or I'm disabled. They don't like any of those things. So I'm not sure, but it doesn't matter. They can't do it. And I did my best to be proactive to not allow, I don't even know why I guess they gave them another chance at a permit and they blew it. But officers came and they sustained what the mistaken sergeant from Central Bureau stated, and they did not enforce my rights to travel through, or anyone's right to go through a public space. They do not own the street. And so that's why, and now there's a Commander Paulson who did respond to me, and I really appreciate that. She had a very respectful and try to really explain it, but she's not on the she's not on the same page as to what the Bureau of Street Services rules are. And I'm trying to ask if we can have some kind of meeting between, so LAPD command staff and Bureau of Street Services can really make it clear to all command staff what the rules are. The rules are they have to keep it open. I would have preferred to have been, just celebrating Easter the way I, do it. Celebrating Easter, but I felt like I needed to be there because I knew they were going to do this, and it's a continuous thing. And it's like, it's just more of how they feel that they own this city. I'm asking you to divorce yourself from Scientology. Get them off your CPAPs, because see, they feel they have access, special access because of it. So I am requesting a meeting so that the command staff, that it never happens again, that no officer would choose supporting Scientology's illegal maneuvers rather than supporting the public's right to access of this public sidewalks. Thank you, and I appreciate it, and I hope you all had a great weekend.
The next speaker is Lara FM.
Okay, I'm here again about Scientology, but I do want to bring up, it's not a proper solution, Teresa, to have anybody staying outside. We come all the way here to do this. You have a whole open row here. Everybody's on their best behavior as much as we fucking can be, and this shit triggers us. That's not okay. It's bullshit. So, back to Scientology. Again, Jim McDonald. An officer, Officer Suck, came and fucking authorized both the sidewalks to be shut down with Scientology's bullshit, billiards that have huge 10 by 10 foot fucking walls that have the way to happiness, literally everything I've given you guys in these booklets and these things that have all the front groups of Scientology. They had huge billboards all the way down L. Ron Hubbard Way, both sidewalks closed. They finally opened one. That's not okay. The letter right before they got the permit, it says, both sidewalks are to be open and accessible to the public, and signs are to be posted on the sidewalk explicitly stating the sidewalk is open to the public. I had 4 police officers crawl me because security guards that were hired by Scientology, because I'm walking on a sidewalk. That was it. That's it. How is this okay? Why do you have your officers doing this? Have we not gone to the Northeast Division and told them to stop? If Scientology calls, why do you have Sergeant Suck come out there and fucking approve all of that? That is not okay. This is triggering to my PTSD. This is triggering to all the fucking abuse in LAPD. It's not okay. This is my father. It was Easter. Easter has nothing to do with Scientology. Nothing. It has more to do about family. And there I am trying to see my father again. The same shit happens all the time. She's being forced off the sidewalk. Why? We're trying to just show you what's happening. I deal with this on a daily fucking basis. My van has been ruined. My life has been fucking attacked and stalked. I will not stop. I will not stop. I will go to every religious event to make sure Scientology is not there. They are there. There should be no LAPD and no city in the fucking Scientology. State and church. State and church, do it. Why is the LAPD going to Easter events where they are recruiting children? I am so triggered right now. They literally have the last event, the new golden age of generation. That's for the kids, to get all new kids into Scientology. That's why I'm triggered. Get your fucking selves divorced from Scientology.
The next speaker, please, Alessandra. Alessandra.
Morning. My name is Alejandra Benavides. I'm a longtime parishioner at Dolores Mission Church in Boyle Heights, a small church with a tremendous heart and following. Its social justice organizing committee is a powerful group of people working to develop our leadership and to build our community through spiritual, political, and social transformation. We are also members of LA Voice, a multi-faith network of congregations across LA County. Together, we do important work for the city. In our recent Dolores Mission Church social justice meeting, we sought public comment for our members regarding LAPD's full compliance with LA's sanctuary policies. I shall share with you, Chief McDonald, a few of their letters. And now, I'll read some of their comments that resonate with this topic and should be read into the minutes today. First comment, in LA, we protect our neighbors. Our tax money should not be used to enable federal agents who are disappearing the backbone of our city. Instead, it should enable for our families and our communities. Another statement, please put number one, our immigrant community's safety and well-being. Be attentive to our requests. Another member says, Los Angeles draws its strength, beauty, and diversity from our immigrant communities. Immigrants help make this place our very special home. A member writes, please put Angelitos first. We love our immigrant neighbors, documented or undocumented. What Trump is imposing on us is against our desire. It harms our city. It harms our city. My friends, co-workers, and students are in danger. You must do your part to protect us and not the work of ICE. Thank you. These are the letters. I'm giving you some.
Mr. Herman?
You can have these for the people.
In the name of the one true God, fuck you, Scientology. It's our fucking sidewalk. Systemic failure by police officers to deny and deprive us the right to a fucking public sidewalk that I pay for in California. Fuck you. Matter of fact, is it true that police officers fuck cadets? Was it true that Whittier police officers fucked explorers for $3.5 million? I want to know. I'm God, and I already know. So what's the problem, pussies? If you can't eat pussy, then don't read my shirt. Because all it says is who ate all the pussy. It's just a term, just like the word fuck. But I'm not going to educate you about vulgar, venomous speech because it's free speech. But I'll remind you about Brandenburg versus Ohio, or maybe Snyder versus Phelps, or Cohen versus California. But for goddamn sake, who the fuck is creating all this fraud and abuse and corruption? Jimmy, I knew you were in El Monte at that Centurion event, and that two fucking cops that made $40,000 in a month is beyond reasonable. And I know, Jimmy, you're not paying LAPD's officers the same amount that they should be paid for overtime. You should triple it, like El Monte, Florida's gangsters, because they know how to steal fucking public money. That bitch mayor down there and those fucking ugly protesters down there that continue to say that my free speech is not protected speech. Well, let's ask the Supreme Court this, Jimmy. Snyder versus Phelps. Simplify, fags. Let's talk about Cohen versus California. Fuck the draft. I can go on and on and on with these dockets. But it's not my job to educate you about my goddamn First Amendment. And in my hand, I'm turning it in for the record, Jimmy, what I sent to the DA, Mr. Hockman. Get the fuck off your lazy ass and stop grandstanding and fucking remove those Scientology bastards off by sidewalk and streets. It's a public sidewalk. Systemic failure. We deserve more being disabled. We deserve more being elderly. We deserve more being a part of a culture that we immigrants, that we minorities are under the failure of all you white motherfuckers too. Thank you, Michael Hunt versus the city of Los Angeles. I can say that I'm a white motherfucker too. So fuck you, Scientology, and fuck you, criminals of corruption. Thank you.
The next speaker, William Good.
Good morning. Jim, you're so full of shit. This guy says that they respected journalists at the protest. That's a lie. LA Times journalist Connor Sheets said he was literally pulled by his collar out of the area. Now, a reminder, under your policy and under state law, any journalist can be anywhere at a protest except at a command post. But your officers removed Connor Sheets and others from the area that was not in a command post and told them to stand in the command post. So get your shit right. Now, another thing is, he talks about he goes to great lengths to respect journalists' rights. Let me read you this, a letter that you sent me last week related to a complaint over journalists being violated. It says here that your allegations that an employee violated a federal restraining order is non-disciplinary. If their cops violate the federal restraining order, it's non-disciplinary. He didn't say that it was unfounded. He just said it was non-disciplinary. Along with that, the same cop who refused to identify himself and removed his name tag and his serial number from his helmet was non-disciplinary. And when he was wearing a gang unit decal or a pin, that was also non-disciplinary. So don't tell me that you take these things seriously. Rasha, he lied to you. This guy's constantly lying. You're a fucking liar, Jim. Now, as I've been talking about, in the discipline report 2 months ago, they said that one of these cops was involved in a law enforcement gang. Law enforcement gang. I CPRA'd that information. I received an email from his LAPD, from Karen Bass's LAPD, telling me they're not going to release that information until somewhere around the election. Even though the law, SB 1421 or 8922.535, is very clear. You have a maximum of 45 days to release the information, but he's not doing that. They're hiding this gang cop. Why? And when is somebody going to stand up? You know, you guys only have jurisdiction over disciplining the chief and the CPRA process. So the LAPD commission should do something about the fact that they're violating it. They said, well, we're not releasing this information because we have too many CPRAs to handle. I noticed that over the last month, you usually release 10 SB 1421 files per week. You release none. You release none. They stopped releasing any information. It's bullshit. You guys are, one of my complaints is on the agenda today. I asked them to reach out to my team for an interview. They refused to. They said it can't be done via email. It has to be done by the phone. So we have to identify ourselves. The person who's working with me has to identify themselves to file a complaint. And bullshit, you're a fucking liar.
The next speaker, Rosalinda Gutierrez.
Good morning. I will say my words in Spanish. Mejor? Buenos dias. Good morning.
Buenos dias.
I will say it in Spanish for those that will be better understood. Mi nombre es Rosalinda Gutiérrez Valderrama y vivo en Los Ángeles. Pido a la Comisión de Policía que se aseguren de que el Departamento de Policía cumpla con las leyes santuario de nuestra ciudad para proteger a los residentes y a los inmigrantes. El Departamento de Policía no debe ayudar a los agentes federales de inmigración conocidos como ICE cuando atacan a las personas por su raza o cuando les impiden protestar pacíficamente. No debemos permitir que el Departamento de Policía de Los Ángeles ayude a agentes federales que rompen las reglas o ignoran los derechos de las personas. Creo que la policía debe dejar de trabajar con ICE por las siguientes razones. Una, derecho para todos. ICE tiene un historial de romper las reglas y de violar derechos. El Departamento de Policía de Los Ángeles no debe de ser parte de eso. Dos, ayudar a los vecinos. Nuestra ciudad debe de ayudar a la gente, no asustarla. Cuando la policía trabaja con ICE, la gente tiene miedo y pedir ayuda. Tenemos miedo de pedir ayuda. Mantener las familias unidas. Necesitamos que las familias estén seguras en sus hogares y de no separarlos por la deportación. La Comisión de Policía tiene el poder y en guiar estos esfuerzos. Ustedes tienen el poder en guiar estos esfuerzos. Por favor, asegúrennos de que el Departamento de Policía sea honesto y proteja a todas las personas de Los Ángeles. Gracias.
The next speaker, Janelle Williams.
Hi, my name is Danielle Williams. I live in the Beverly Grove neighborhood of CD5, and I'm the co-leader of LA Ford's Immigrant Justice Working Group, and here in support of the Sanctuary Coalition's efforts to ensure that LAPD fully complies with LA City sanctuary policies and urge the commission to fulfill its responsibility to ensure that LAPD do so. And I'd like everybody here that's with the Sanctuary Coalition, if you guys would stand up, just so we can see how many people are here today in support. I know not all are giving comment. And we had more outside. You know, the Sanctuary Coalition was set to present to the commission about the impact of the horrific immigration raids that have occurred throughout the city and the recommendations for how the commission can ensure LAPD's compliance with sanctuary policies. However, due to unknown reasons, the presentation was postponed. This is very disappointing and does not inspire confidence in the transparency and responsiveness of this commission. We are told by Chief McDonald and the LAPD time and time again that the LAPD does not support ICE's work, and yet Angelenos see with their own eyes LAPD establishing perimeters or closures or conducting crowd control during or following immigration raids. When ICE and Border Patrol call for service, LAPD has blindly followed despite rampant constitutional rights violations and the growing evidence of federal immigration agents providing misleading or false information in 911 calls. This complicity with ICE and the gaslighting of the general public must end. I ask that the Board of Commissioners ensure that the LAPD come into full compliance with the City of LA sanctuary policies and maximize protections for immigrant residents by canceling its ALPR contract with Flock. Thank you.
The next speaker, please, Sophia Wrench.
One person should come in.
Good morning. My name is Sophia Wrench. I'm an attorney with Public Counsel and a member of the Sanctuary Coalition. And we're back again. Why? Because LAPD continues to facilitate ICE's work, and because we were originally invited to speak on the agenda, but which was abruptly withdrawn. Because LAPD doesn't want to hear from the community. We're here because people are dying in detention centers when LAPD helps ICE kidnap and terrorize our communities. And this goes beyond sanctuary laws. All Angelenos, regardless of immigration status, are surveilled and criminalized all the time. LAPD pays a private company, Flock Safety, who put up license plate readers across the city to capture video, and that data is shared with ICE. And it's used to track people going to and from work so that they can coordinate to pick up people and deport them. But it's also used to criminalize sex workers, criminalize people seeking abortions, and others. Not only is this a massive waste of money to over-criminalize our communities, but Flock is also using AI algorithms to manufacture criminality, which they then share with police departments. And they're doing this because there's a financial incentive to create criminals in our communities. This almost feels like science fiction, but it is indeed our reality, and it puts us at risk. ICE officers are receiving less training than almost any other federal agency, and in particular, lack of training on safe use of weapons, use of force, and the fundamentals of the Constitution. This has already put our community at risk, and we're mourning the death of Keith Porter Jr., who was killed by an off-duty ICE officer on New Year's Eve. End the Flock contract. Stop helping ICE agents who lie and violate Angelenos' constitutional rights. ICE out of LAPD now. Thank you.
The next speaker, Olivia Irene Fitzsimmons.
Hello, good morning. My name is Olivia Irene Fitzsimmons. I am she. I'm here today because I have reported to City Hall to Judge Nancy Ramirez in Department 424 that I found body parts. And this is what I mean. This is a body part with an eye and a skull with a mouth opening. I found this bag as well further down the street, but it was on Orange Drive. But as you can see, there's an eye hole and a mouth. I found body parts like this often. This is kind of a decayed, I don't know how long I've not studied, but there is also plastic in the back of the head. It looks like it was inserted. So I'm going to give this to you guys. But I found a leg at the airport, at the LAX airport, near the expressway. I found a minor penis. Someone chopped down a tree and showed skin on top of the tree. I found a tree full of blood work. So that I found 2 days ago. And then that's about it. But I do find body parts throughout the city, and I have sent them to the President of the United States. And I have asked LAPD 4 times now where I send if I find a body part. And the last time I asked, they told me to call the police, and I did. I did make a report that I found that. I was looking at the man's dog here, and I noticed it's about the same size, so I do believe they're about 5 to 8 years old. I have told the court that them not telling me any knowledge of my son on how he is doing does cause me mental distress, and that is why I have found multiple body parts through the city, and I do need to know how my son, Orvin Ali Avant, is doing. Not because I am discouraging the court to do what they're doing, but because, Jesus, that's a body part. You guys are gonna throw that away? Can I have that back, please? Well, I found that body part, and apparently Los Angeles Police Department throws body parts away, so that is encouraging to know. But I have found different body parts through the city and at different decomposing layers. But I also would like you to know that I know that statement doesn't mean what I was saying is getting thrown in the trash, but that is how I perceive that. So I was going to take that to City Hall, but I handed it over to a police officer, then that also got a police officer to throw that away, because that was clearly a trash bin that I could purchase at Target if need be. My name is Olivia Irene Fitzsimmons, and that's all I have for this week. Also, I do have a side note I noticed that cancellation meetings, in my own opinion, is a cancellation form of office.
The next speaker, please, Lucinda Taft.
Hello, my name is Lucinda Toft. I'm a politics student at Occidental College and an intern at the UCLA Labor Center and Sanctuary Coalition, and I'd like to speak about the agenda items 4.8 and general public comments. The LAPD must come into full compliance with the City of LA's sanctuary policies and maximize protections for immigrant residents by canceling its ALPR contract with Flock. Communities across LA are increasingly concerned about the use of Flock's automatic license plate readers to facilitate mass deportations and criminalization. At Occidental, our peers and their families live in constant fear over the threat of deportation. As reported by Cal Matters, the LAPD searched license plate readings on behalf of ICE and CBP as recent as May 2025. We know the reality is that via fusion centers and the information sharing environment, LAPD and federal immigration agencies exchange Flock data. Flock's ALPR hits are then used to create a digital web for ICE to track, hunt, and abduct community members. Regardless of citizenship status, ALPR data is used to criminalize Angelenos across the city, expanding the presumption of guilt. My college has had to take steps to protect our peers from the threat of deportation when it is still not enough to calm the fear. when LAPD's compliance with ICE continues. My college locks the doors of almost every academic building and limits police presence on campus to protect our peers, when in reality, a college should not have to take measures that place any restrictions on entry as it prides itself as a place that welcomes all. Protecting our peers and our community is a job for the LAPD, and they need to follow suit. The LA Sanctuary Coalition has submitted thoughtful recommendations in letters dated March 15th and July 25th of last year. Importantly, the LAPD must significantly limit its responses to calls for support from federal immigration enforcement to only when they receive a federal judicial warrant authorizing an arrest. Councilmember Ulysses Hernandez motion was adopted on July 1st last year. It's been 9 full months, and this commission has yet to adopt any such policy. We know that LAPD is unwilling to act on their own. LAPC must take action to hold LAPD accountable and ensure the protection and well-being of all our community members. Thank you. Please consider.
Next speaker is Cassie Adorable. Cassie.
Good morning. My name is Cassie Adorable, and I am also a politics student at Occidental College and an intern with the Sanctuary Coalition. We urge the LAPD to come into full compliance with the City of LA's sanctuary policies and maximize protections for immigrant residents by canceling its ALPR contract with Flock. The threat of deportation and increased surveillance has become increasingly prevalent in spaces where our peers should feel protected and should not be subject to violence. My high school administration has implemented strict security measures, including security guards and cameras at every door, as well as an alarm system. These serve as a preventative measure against ICE officers who have attempted to enter the premises to deport children while they're at school. The cruelness behind conducting arrests and raids of children who are living in constant fear and cannot defend themselves from federal agents who have been encouraged and directed to use any means necessary, even if that means violence, to detain immigrants is the frightening reality that we live in. The Trump administration has lifted policies that previously restricted ICE from operating in schools, and they will continue to target vulnerable immigrant populations with the help of LAPD, stripping them of any safe haven. We demand this commission move immediately to prohibit LAPD from assisting federal immigration agents in operations that involve racial or identity profiling and the criminalization of residents' exercise of their First Amendment rights. We cannot and will not allow the LAPD to do the bidding of federal immigration agents who lie and violate Angelino's constitutional rights. Thank you.
The next speaker, Jean Marie Rideout.
Hello, my name is Jean Marie Rideout, and I live in the city of Los Angeles, specifically Boyle Heights. I want you to know that ICE has decimated that community. People are afraid to go out. Restaurants are empty. Stores are closing. I'm here to ask the commission to follow the sanctuary city laws. LAPD should not help federal immigration officers when they target people because of their race and when they stop people from protesting peacefully. We should not let LAPD help federal agents who break the law or ignore people's rights. I believe the police should stop working with ICE, 1, because rights are for everyone. ICE has a history of breaking rules and hurting people's rights. The LAPD should not help them do that. 2, helping neighbors. Our city should help people, not scare them. When police work with ICE, people are afraid to call for help. 3, keeping families together. We need to keep families safe in their homes and not separated by deportation. The police commissioner has the power to lead the way. Please make sure LAPD is honest and keeps all people in Los Angeles safe, regardless of immigration status. Please keep ICE out of LAPD.
The next speaker, Amelia Panosian.
Hello, everybody. I live in, since 86, I'm a citizen. And I know it's America was a very good place to live. Very kind people. But recently, I'm living in condominium, which was very safe. Until a few years ago, they hired office, Sibris company, which has a manager. He's stealing burglaring my apartment since 22. For 2 years, I try change my locks every time. So it's probably 9 times. 6 times I change bedroom and living room, 6 times from Home Depot. But he's still opening, entering. So I decided to buy more expensive order from Canada. It's a Medeco, 3 times. 3 times I spent $400 for one. Locksmith came, and then I decided by myself install, so nobody will know my key. But it doesn't work. He's stealing. So all my windows, 3 windows, I cover with metal, these latches, but it doesn't work. This every time when I drive out, I know who is this. His manager. His name is Alex Karamian. His manager. But after just 2 years, in 24, I applied to police. I tell to police. They gave me a police report, but this detective who should work for me. Actually, it says, call your detective and work with them. So I'm calling, he was Mr. Watterson. So I'm calling for 2 months. He didn't took my call this period. 3 times a day I'm calling. He doesn't take my call. Even no messages. It says, box is full. Box is full. So after 2 months, when I call him, he said, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? He's doing nothing. He's doing nothing. He lied to me. So he's doing nothing. So I decided to go to himself. Yeah. He said, you want me to put in jail? Him. I said, no, I want him to, I want you stop my life in danger. He can any moment at night come. He has all my keys. Because before our building has no security, but it was so safe building. It's a Vermont and Philly. The people, our neighbors going for 2 hours out without locking the door. Since he came, they put a security lock on.
Thank you. The next speaker, Martina Cortez.
Thank you. Ms. Panosian, your time is up. Ms. Panosian? Okay, thank you.
Muy buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Martina Cortés. Tengo 15 años trabajando en la industria de la costura y soy miembro del Centro de Trabajadores de la Costura. Estoy aquí con mis compañeros del centro y nuestros aliados para exigir a ustedes como a la Comisión de Policía que asegure que el Departamento de Policía de Los Ángeles cumpla plenamente con las políticas del santuario de la ciudad de Los Ángeles y que proteja a los residentes e inmigrantes. Desde el 6 de junio del 25 en Los Ángeles hemos sido testigos de cómo esta administración federal ha estado aplicando perfiles irraciales, maltratando a miembros de la comunidad y al mismo tiempo hemos visto cómo la policía de Los Ángeles ha ayudado de hecho a estos agentes federales de migración. Los agentes mienten sobre una amenaza para la seguridad pública, cuando son ellos que nos están autorizando, y luego cuando la policía llega a la escena, la prioridad no es protegernos, sino ayudar a ICI a secuestrar a más de nuestra gente. Ustedes como comisión, con su liderazgo, pueden garantizar que la policía cumpla con las políticas del santuario de la ciudad, de manera que conmueva la transparencia y la seguridad de todos los angelinos. A usted, ya que cumple con tu deber y de protegernos y servimos a nosotros, no easy.
Thank you. The next speaker, Carlos Amador.
So, good afternoon. I'm just going to translate. So, for the records, my name is Eddie Gonzalez. I'm an organizer with the Garment Workers Center. So, my name is Martina Cortez. I've been working in the garment industry for 15 years, and I'm a member of the Garment Workers Center. I'm here with the colleagues from the center and other allies to demand that you and the Police Commission ensure that the Los Angeles Police Department fully complies with the City of Los Angeles sanctuary policies and protect immigrant residents. Since June 6, 2025, here in Los Angeles, we have witnessed how this federal administration has been engaging in racial profiling and mistreating members of the community. At the same time, we have seen how the LAPD has effectively aided these federal immigration agents. The agents lie about a threat to public safety when it is they who are terrorizing us. And then when the police arrives on the scene, the priority is not to protect us, but to help ICE detain more of our people. You as a commission can use your leadership to ensure that the police comply with the city sanctuary policies and what promotes transparency and the safety of all Angelinos. Act now and fulfill your duty to protect and serve us, not ICE.
People at a time, and you don't waste time in between. My name is Carlos Amador. I'm with the Clean Car Wash Workers Center, also a member of the Sanctuary LA Coalition. We have witnessed that LAPD effectively has been helping mass immigration agents responding to so-called mutual aid. LAPD has been seen establishing perimeters, conducting so-called crowd control during and following immigration raids, which the courts have found were based on racial and identity profiling. Despite these constitutional rights being violated and the growing evidence of federal immigration officers lying on 911 calls when ICE and Border Patrol call, LAPD has just blindly followed. Today, members of our coalition were slated to formally present on these Polimigra police ICE practices, bringing the truth to light. Disappointingly, our presentation was abruptly canceled, no reasons given. McDonald, you may try to hide the truth, but the people of Los Angeles can see with their own eyes how police is violating city laws and the Constitution as they assess Trump's deportation machine, adding to the sentiment of no confidence towards LAPD. I ask that the Police Commission immediately schedule a presentation by our coalition, and I demand that the police stop aiding ICE terror campaign on our communities. McDonald, escucha. Enforce LA sanctuary laws. Do not help Trump's terrorist, racist deportation machine.
Joel Lava. Joel Lava.
Hello, my name's Joel Lava. I'm running for Congress for District 30, which includes areas of LA like Hollywood, Los Feliz, and Silver Lake. I'm here to talk about ICE involvement with LAPD. But I realize sitting here watching, there's nothing I can say that isn't already up on this wall. This says everything we need to know. So I'd like to take a 30,000 foot view, an Artemis II view, if you will. The LA people are hurting, they're scared, and they're angry. Family members are being taken, jobs are being lost. So I'd like to focus on one of the things on this wall, which is leadership. Chief McDonald, leadership isn't just leading your department, it's leading relations with the citizens of LA. You have to protect and serve. I don't have to explain to the commissioner, to you, Chief McDonald, that a key component of effective policing is good community relations. If the people trust you and feel confident in your protection and your commitment, then they will help you. And what will that do? That will decrease crime. It will increase public safety. It's incumbent on you to lead so that the public feels safer and works with you as a partnership. So what does leadership mean? You need to show the people that you are understanding, you're on the people side and not on ICE side, that you're willing to follow the laws that are in place as a sanctuary city. You need to do what the people are saying. We're telling you what to do. Get rid of Flock. Stop coordinating with ICE. It's very simple. You do these things, it will increase confidence in the city, in the police department, which will then show us you are protecting and serving us, and that will also reduce crime because the people will be more confident and comfortable in working with the police. So please, everyone here is telling you what to do. We're just asking that you do it. Show leadership, get your department on your side, and then you'll get the communities on your side, and then LA will be a better place for all citizens and immigrants. Thank you. ICE out of LAPD.
The next speaker is Nancy Mesa.
Hello, good morning, buenos dias. It's almost evening. My name is Nancy Mesa. I am here with the National Day Labor Organizing Network and a proud member of the LA Sanctuary Coalition, of whose members you've seen today and see our signs. Like all the speakers before me, I am here to urge Chief McDonald to follow the law. You know, as a National Day Labor Organizing Network, I am proud to say that we have been day one haters of Jim McDonald during his tenure as sheriff, because Jim McDonald has been and was the most vocal opponent of our state sanctuary law, SB 54. He was not a silent opponent. He was a vocal opponent. During that time, Endelon launched a campaign to make sure that Chief McDonald knew at the time what the people demanded and that we stood against his stance. So for us and for the people of LA, Chief McDonald has always been a MAGA officer and has always been against our sanctuary policies. Why our mayor appointed him chief of police is the struggle we're still working with her and her office, right? But this is why we're here at the LA Police Commissioners, right? Because the people of LA have also spoken. Chief McDonald lost his re-election bid for sheriff, largely because of his open opposition to our state sanctuary laws and to what the people of LA already demanded, right? Which is safety for everyone. So the people of LA have already spoken, McDonald, and I'm really glad that you wiped that smile off your face that you had in the beginning of the meeting, because collaborating with ICE and not upholding the law that people in this room fought so hard for over 7 years with the city of LA to make happen is no joking or laughing matter. The safety of our community and the safety of the Constitution is no laughing matter. So I think today, right, we have various demands. Our coalition was set to present. Obviously, we're not presenting, but we are present, right? So one, Teresa, you invited us to speak and then pulled it off the agenda, right? Or who did? We don't know, right? So we want answers. One, why were we not allowed to speak to the decision-making body, right? We know that the people of LA have spoken every day, right? Once the siege started in June, protests began at the federal building and they've never stopped. Every day, every night, there are people there, right? So we need leadership. We know we're not gonna get it from McDonald, who isn't even enforcing the law, right? But what we're seeking leadership is from this police commission. Hold Jim McDonald accountable. Hold them accountable to the people of Los Angeles, who again, rejected his re-election bid for sheriff and want Los Angeles to be a place where every immigrant can feel safe. We say ICE out of LAPD because we know we need to stop the collaboration between police and ICE for our own personal safety. Alto Polimigra, Jim McDonald, I hope to not see you soon in this position. Thank you.
Clarissa?
Hi, my name's Clarissa. I'm from the city of Bell, and I've been working tirelessly with my neighbors to stop Bell PD's collaboration with ICE and federal agents. For the past few months, we have seen Bell PD talking to federal agents in the library parking lot. We have witnessed federal agents walking to the back door of the police department. And we have witnessed, and we come to realization, is that a huge factor of why a small city such as Bell is working with federal agents, even though we've been tirelessly advocating with our city council there and tirelessly fighting against the Bell Police Department to stop these collaborations. A huge factor of it is because of LAPD's LAPD is such a bad example. It's actually because it's such a bad example because of their non-compliance and enforcement of SB sanctuary policies. Smaller cities are now getting the green light to think, oh, if LAPD is not enforcing it, why should smaller cities such as ours do? And that's a huge problem. And it's continuing to spread to other smaller cities such as El Monte, Pasadena, where we're seeing police departments detaining ICE Watch individuals who are following ICE agent vehicles and informing the community that ICE is in our neighborhoods. When the police department should be the ones confronting federal agents, seeing why they're in our cities. We're seeing our neighbors do that and informing them. But instead, we're seeing police departments are the ones harassing and stopping our neighbors from actually informing them about ICE agents in our communities. So I'm urging the Planning Commission to hold the LAPD accountable because other smaller police departments are looking at them as an example. They're thinking, why should we enforce these policies if LAPD is not even doing it? And that's why we really need to hold LAPD accountable and ensure there's transparency and accountability, because this problem is spreading to smaller cities such as mine. And this is why I'm here today, representing my small city, to urge y'all to do something at this level as a decision-making body, and set the example right, because smaller cities are looking to LAPD, smaller cities are looking to LA City to provide the solutions and provide what this accountability looks like, what does transparency look like, and how do we uphold these policies. Thank you.
The next speaker is Jane Priest.
Hello, my name is Jane Priest. I live in Mid-City and I've lived in Los Angeles most of my life. I am embarrassed that this Los Angeles Police Department is working with ICE. ICE is essentially a criminal operation that is attacking Black and brown people, attacking our communities, and we should not be working with them. History will look at this and be ashamed of what we've done. Speaking of that, I just did my taxes, and I am stunned by the amount of officers here and wondering, am I paying overtime for all of them? And did I pay overtime for that relay where these all paid officers running in a race? I hear it was with ICE. I hope that's not true. I don't really know. I hadn't heard about it, but it does seem, I think I counted 9, 10 uniformed officers. I'm not sure why they're all here. Maybe they were going to speak, but there's a lot of them, and well, I don't know. I don't feel safe with them. I feel it's intimidating, to be truthful. I feel like that's why they're here, not really to protect me, but to sort of intimidate me. And I do feel intimidated a lot by police. I went to some of the protests, and I had to leave because they were cordoning off people, and I felt they were going to attack them. And then I later read that they did attack them. And I read this account of this poor woman, they put her in handcuffs for 2 hours. And I thought, my goodness, if they did that to me, I think I would die. I mean, it was torture. And she was just a protester. And that's helping ICE. When you treat our protesters this way, when you tell them that the law lets us keep you for 2 days without charging you, so we'll keep you for the full 2 days. When the law says we can keep you with handcuffs behind your back for 2 hours, to do that for 2 hours, that is cruel. We don't need to treat any of our people this way. We need kindness. And I'm really happy that the criminal stats show that crime is going down in Los Angeles. That is wonderful. And from what I hear, it's going down across the nation. And that's wonderful too. But why are we funding our officers? I just keep hearing more money, more money, more money. When crime is going down, it's a wonderful thing. I don't really know what all the statistics are or why it's going down, but I do think it's a wonderful thing that our society is becoming a safer place to live. We need to stop supporting ICE. Thank you for hearing me.
The next speaker, Michael Simon.
I was raised by a woman from Germany who, like me, was Jewish. And when, let's say that about 50 of her relatives disappeared into concentration camps, she was my nanny. My parents took her in. She had PTSD pretty bad. So there were only two kinds of people in power: those who are in power and carry out the orders because they like them, and those who say they were just carrying out orders. It's unfortunate. Well, the second excuse disappeared in 1947 in a little town called Nuremberg. And the first kind of person who carries out orders from an immoral and deranged president and his henchmen and sends people to concentration camps deserves only contempt and possible prosecution afterwards. So I want you to understand that all of you have no excuse to say I was only carrying out orders, that all of you are acting even when you refuse to act. Your refusal to act is an action, and you should divorce yourself from or separate yourself from immoral acts like ICE represents. I think that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Next speaker is Mia Renaud.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Whitehouse. I am a physician. I took an oath to serve my patients, at least to do no harm. You are all public servants. I hope you took an oath. I would think at least you agreed to follow the law. You have a moral obligation to do the right thing. I have more questions, actually, than comments. Why did you not let the ACLU lawyer, who I was here to support, speak today? Why? You mentioned Mr. McDonnell, an officer who passed. I'm sorry for that loss. I assume from a heart attack. Are the only lives who matter the people you know? We are a sanctuary city. Why do you not follow the law? Why is it up to you, Mr. McDonnell, to determine who's traditional press or who is legitimate press? I am here because to protect and to serve. That's what I expect. That's where my tax dollars go. And I think you all have an obligation to make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker, Myra Jody Whitehouse. That was her. Okay, Michael Williams.
I'm here as always to ask, why hasn't Brian Palacios been arrested for murdering Keith Porter Jr.? You all haven't even officially announced who killed him. And you're allowing this. You're more worried about protesters vandalizing buildings. There's been no protester has killed anyone in Los Angeles. But you know who has killed people in Los Angeles? ICE. Brian Palacios killed Keith Porter Jr., a father who was helping his child get through school. He was working 2 jobs to help his baby. And now she don't have him no more. And you're protecting a man who has a restraining order on him, who has been accused of abusing his children. That's the man y'all are protecting. Y'all sit up here and want to condemn protesters for blocking ICE, for doing all these things. We know that when you are detained by ICE, it is not just a deportation that you're facing. We have heard reports. We know, it's not even reports. We know for a fact that people are being killed in ICE detention centers. We know that children are becoming sick from the conditions. We know that people have been tortured inside ICE detention centers. We know that babies are getting raped and are being trafficked by ICE agents. And this is what y'all are helping to do. So if protesters want to block the entrance of the detention center, the Metro Detention Center, I say let them. If they want to spray fuck ICE on the side of that bitch, let them. If they want to burn the bitch down, let them. Because none of y'all would be condemning if people stood in front of Nazi concentration camps and blocked their entrances. You wouldn't be condemning people writing fuck Nazis on the side of a concentration camp. You wouldn't be condemning people burning concentration camps down. Oh, maybe you would. Because we know that police have never been about protecting people's rights. You have always stood on the side of oppression since the civil rights era, since the slavery era. Police have never protected people's rights. You have always been on the side of oppression. I come here every single week and I say you guys are the best example of why we need to abolish the police. You could have abolitionists like me fighting for our lives in the comments, but you guys are just continuing to prove our point. So keep doing what you guys are doing, because you're raising a whole generation of people that will get.
The next speaker, Katie LaFoon. Katie.
I'm one of the terrifying people you guys arrested after No Kings for just documenting. Bunch of us. No one was doing anything wrong. There was no dispersal order. I don't care what LAPD is telling you. Even if we go by what is public, they posted that we had to leave the area at 5:30 and you were on scene by 5:35. And it's all documented, it's filmed, it's time-stamped metadata. We could not leave. I asked a dozen officers. And I just want to say, we have to stop doing this. This is a farce. All of this, we're acting like it's normal.
Jim McDonald, we have not been formally introduced. Hi, I'm Katie LaFoon. You will not enforce the law that has been passed by the governor. You don't do what the mayor has asked, what this board has asked, what city council has asked. LAPD does what it wants. We know you're working with ICE. We know that you guys are helping DHS. To me, that is a military coup. So all of this is just performative so that the people don't pay attention. And I gotta say, you guys are not afraid of violence because a few people with rocks and plastic water bottles, it's not shit versus $85 billion in DHS funds. It's nothing compared to the $3 billion that LAPD has. You're not scared of that. You're not scared of a couple rocks. I do think you're scared that somebody out there might inspire a community, because when a community gets inspired, the people rise up. And the most powerful thing is people that are inspired not through fear, but by cooperation. And you guys better watch out, because you are starving an entire fucking city and they have nothing left to lose. They have nothing left to lose. We know what you're doing. You are very clearly working with the federal government. We watch every day as people are trafficked. We watch the bus full of women and children in the middle of the night. You want to arrest people like me. You want to arrest people like this, who are standing in front of buses saying, do not traffic our kids. Do not rape our kids. And you're worried that we didn't leave an area where none of us are doing anything. We're not spray painting. We're not throwing anything. We are documenting the federal government's overreach. One person threw a rock and they deployed chemical weapons at hundreds of people. And you guys trapped all of us. You did not allow any of us to leave. I asked. It was never about us leaving. It was always about mass arrests. So we have to stop doing this, okay? Because they are not going to do anything. You know, you sit there and you grin. I watch on Zoom. You grin at every single person that stands up to you because you know this isn't shit. There's photos of you next to Kash Patel in this like domestic terrorism organization. You're coming after all of us, every single one, for saying, do not violate our rights. Uphold the law that you're supposed to be here to fucking protect and serve. Protect and serve who? The corporations, the billionaires, this illegal government that's in place, because even the LA city government, what the fuck? The mayor, city council, they're letting you guys do it. The people are not. I don't give a shit how many billions of dollars you have. Eventually, David's gonna rise up and it's gonna be more than a fuck.
The next speaker, Guerra Molina.
Good afternoon. I wanted to ask everybody in uniform, how does it feel to know that you're fucking complicit? Do you guys know what it takes to be a first responder, a rapid responder? Somebody picking up the pieces that you all condemn by encouraging ICE to do what they do? No, you don't know. Do you know the fear that they have, that my community has every day, that somebody is kidnapped from their family? Have you been to Adelanto? Do you guys see the patches that they have here that say Charlie Kirk? My fucking tax dollars are paying for that fucking shit? I've been there many a times and been abused physically and emotionally by going there. Do you guys know what it takes to be a community member, to protect and to fucking serve my community in Los Angeles, California? You don't. And I hope you never fucking have peace and you go down as fucking tyrants.
The next speaker, Alexandra Morales.
Good morning.
My name is Alexandra Morales. I am a resident of Los Angeles, and I am here on behalf of Immigrant Defenders Law Center. INDEF is committed to advancing justice and equity for immigrant communities by providing deportation defense, legal representation, education, and wraparound social services to more than 30,000 individuals here each year. Through this work, we witness firsthand the profound impact of immigration enforcement on individuals and families alike. Removal proceedings are already deeply traumatizing, and it is our collective responsibility to ensure that people's rights and dignity are protected every step of the way. LAPD should not be contributing to the separation of families or the persecution of immigrant communities in LA or anywhere else. Actions that facilitate and support federal enforcement operations in our neighborhoods have eroded trust and created even more fear in our neighborhoods. At a time when the federal administration continues to advance harmful and discriminatory policies, local agencies must be a line of protection and not an extension of that harm and trauma. When local resources are used directly or indirectly to support federal enforcement, it further criminalizes and destabilizes our communities. Over the past year, the City Council and the Mayor have taken important steps to strengthen Los Angeles sanctuary protections. However, LAPD has yet to fully implement these protections and continues to fall short of the intent and requirements of sanctuary laws. The Los Angeles Police Commission must act now. You have the authority and the responsibility to ensure that LAPD is fully compliant with sanctuary policies, to respond when community members raise concerns about collaboration with federal enforcement in kidnappings in our communities, and to end contracts, such as those with Flock, that undermine community trust and safety. Taking these steps would demonstrate a clear commitment to protecting our communities and prioritizing the well-being, safety, and rights of all Angelenos.
The next speaker, Bruno Huizar. Bruno Huizar. Yaritza Gonzalez. Aida Ashuri. Okay.
Good morning. My name is Yaritza Gonzalez, and I'm here on behalf of CARECEN, the Central American Resource Center. LA took swift action to protect the immigrant community by passing the LA Sanctuary City Ordinance last year. And since then, the mayor and the city council have taken meaningful steps to strengthen the city's sanctuary protections. But to this day, the LAPD has yet to fully implement these protections and continues to undermine sanctuary policies. It is very concerning that the LAPD has been witnessed in various ICE operations, responding to calls for so-called mutual aid. This has sent the wrong message to immigrant communities. This commission must prohibit LAPD from assisting federal immigration agents in operations that involve racial or identity profiling and the criminalization of residents' exercise of their First Amendment rights. We urge the LA Police Commission to take action to hold LAPD accountable and ensure the protection and well-being of all of our community members. Thank you.
Aida Ashuri.
My name is Ida Ashuri, and I've been out here at these meetings, multiple meetings, and opposing Flock since the beginning. I've been an activist for more than 25 years, and I have seen how these technology companies target minorities, first with Palantir in 2003 targeting Muslims, and now they're targeting immigrants and protesters. And I see our government on both sides of the aisle doing nothing and continuing to expand it. And the way that y'all look at me in this just tone-deaf fashion is just so disrespectful to us out here. And we are, sacrificing our lives being on the front line, but also the lives of my family back home in Iran are being sacrificed by these same billionaires that are controlling our two-party system and trying to make our democracy into a tech, basically bankroll for their wealth. And that's why I was in front of the INS building when they first started rounding up Muslims and deporting them in 2003. And now we're seeing continued expansion of this technology and this fascism against all minorities, to create a white nationalist government funded by these same fascists that are coming after immigrants here, coming after immigrants abroad, and I hope people make these connections. LAPD I was at the LAPD detention center while people were being detained for hours for no reason at all. There were more than 60 people arrested at a peaceful protest, and I was at an event, then a dispersal order was sent by a text message. That is not how you submit a dispersal order. That is not legal. You need to do it in person with those people there with adequate time, not while you've already kettled them. This is not, I am frightened to see this as a tactic, as a new tactic that you're trying to use to circumvent the law by saying, look, we send a text message while you're already in handcuffs. That is not the way that you operate with peaceful protesters. Again, both parties have been guilty of genocide. Both parties are guilty of the erosion of civil liberties. That's why I'm not running with either party for LA City Attorney. And through my campaign, I publicize the financial incentives of the Police Foundation that is donating these technology to the commission. These Police Foundation members are directly connected to these tech companies that are profiting of the suffering of immigrants, protesters, and Muslims through this surveillance. This is all a money grab connected with these technology companies that have stocks in these companies and donate technologies like we saw in Cop City. We're seeing that right here. The mayor and city council are just as guilty for allowing this happen, for approving these surveillance cameras, for allowing the police to continue to eat up our own budget while we see unhoused people grow, while we see the inequality grow in our city. We have to fund.
Thank you. The next speaker, Aria Middleman.
Hearing me today. It's a pleasure to be with you. My name is Aria. On March 28th, after the No Kings Day 3 protest in downtown Los Angeles, I witnessed this boy. Tucker Collins is his name. He's an 18-year-old USC student, gets shot in the eye with a pepper ball, and he's not only blind now, but he had to get the entire eye removed. He was holding a camera. Excuse me. Protesters arrived not to disrupt or damage, but to use our First Amendment right to petition our government for our neighbors who are now too scared to leave their homes. The LAPD's complacency with DHS and ICE is hurting your constituents. How many boys have to lose their eyes for you to see? Work with us to find a solution. We want to create space for us to come together and discuss a way out of this. We're hurting. Thank you.
The next speaker, Aiden.
Good morning, people. I'm not going to bother addressing the board because they don't even fucking pay attention. Look at them. Look at Django. Look at Rasha on her fucking phone all meeting. Look at, I forget his name because he never talks, you know? Look at, look at this fucking guy who's not even the pig inspector general. He's just some fucking random guy they brought in for today. Now, this morning I was standing outside as this meeting started, and there were numerous open seats in the front row, as there still are, probably over 20. People were not allowed in, the fire marshal was called, and this is just another one of this commission's tactics to keep people from bringing issues in front of the citizenry of this city in an effort to make people aware of the deep, deep, deep corruption that this entire board, the LAPD, and the city government are complicit in. You know, people have been here talking about how we need to protect our immigrant neighbors, migrants of all types, and citizens who are exercising their rights. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that the LAPD is a group that I would expect to defend anyone's rights, except for the rights of property and, landed and titled elite. The LAPD, people are talking about how ICE is kidnapping our neighbors and, abusing black and brown people. Who do you think was fucking doing it first? ICE was invented in 2003 as a sort of tailing thing in the war on terror and, a subdivision or an evolution of the INS. The people who have been doing it for longer are the LAPD. This commission was created over 100 years ago. Have they ever done anything for the people? We have 5 commissioners here who clearly do not give a single fuck about what happens. They do not care what the LAPD does. They do not care what ICE does. In fact, if you ask Jim McDonnell, I suspect he'd prefer that ICE was able to do their jobs, They're just following orders just like Jim, right? Just like that cop in the lobby who said, "Oh, the room's full. No one can come in and talk." You called people who are waiting outside because you wouldn't let them in, even though there's 30 empty seats up here. And if we're over capacity in this room, maybe send out some of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 pigs who are all getting paid to sit here and do jack shit while people are kidnapped, killed, and abused in the street. Fuck all of you. Fuck the LAPD. Fuck ICE. I hope you didn't have a great weekend, and I hope you never do. Go fuck yourselves.
Veronica Guzman.
On March 28th, I apologize. I'm gonna start breaking. On March 28th, we carpooled to downtown LA to participate in the No Kings March. After it ended, we went to Little Tokyo to eat before heading home. Like around 5:30, after 5:30, a little bit after 5, we walked to Alameda to see if the street was open, to use as a shortcut to get to Union Station. To our surprise, the street was open, so we continued to walk. Before getting to Temple Street, we heard the sirens from behind us, and we stopped. We didn't cross Temple. We stopped to see what was happening. We looked back, and we saw the Sworno police cars coming. They stopped right next to us. This officer, it reminded me of Police Academy, Taco Berry, got out of his patrol and started shooting. I don't know what he was shooting. There was no smoke. He was shooting at the parking lot next to the LACMA building. We were stunned because I was afraid, because I remember seeing families with their children. I guess they were heading back home. And he continued doing it. It reminded me like a Rambo. He was playing Rambo. I started screaming to de-escalate, to stop. He didn't listen. And an officer approached me. And I was screaming, fearing that he was gonna turn and hit me, because I knew that could happen. An officer approached me and I pointed at the guy, a police officer. And then I asked him, he stopped. And I waited. There was no order to disperse or illegal assembly. I asked one of the officers if it was okay for me to continue walking down Alameda, and he said yes. We passed Temple. We saw protesters, but there was no smoke, no chaos, just regular protesters. I don't fear protesters. As we got closer to the DHS building, a swarm of officers came running after somebody. And we were again in shock. We don't know what happened. So I told to hurry up to get past the DHS to make it past. Alameda has always been closed to prevent this. I could not. Through my head, I was thinking what happened. Why did they? And the only thing was that it was being planned to create chaos. I don't know the purpose. You know, I did have it in video. People tell me to post it. I don't know how. I'm not. This is something for me. And something that I'll wait for us on April 23rd when I come back for my hearing. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker, please, Eddie Patino.
You guys all okay with that?
Hello. Hi, my name is Eddie Patino. I also was arrested at that protest. I was promoting a general strike because I do believe that we have to stop the billionaires that are funding this government. On that note, you guys filed for Council File 260306. The title is Counter Unmanned Aircraft Systems Department of Homeland Security Grant Program, and that is requesting $9 million that the big beautiful bill is providing LAPD with drones and a bunch of other equipment. I find it concerning that we are accepting money to surveil our citizens of LA. One of the companies, Skydio, that you guys are trying to get in contract with is was created in 2014, and their first main investors were billionaire, let's get his name right, billionaire Ben Horowitz and Mark Anderson. Mark Anderson is valued at $1.9 billion. He became advisor to Donald Trump in 2024. And the other one, Ben Horowitz, gave $3 million to a super PAC for Trump. So it's all connected. You think you're getting a grant for the big beautiful bill for $9 million to get all this equipment, but there's these billionaires that invested in a company that you guys are going to buy products from, $9 million, and they paid $3 million, so that's a profit. I don't know all the intricacies of all who's getting money and what, but like when you're making these deals and accepting or approving them, like follow the money and see who invested and do the due diligence to see if this is corruption in any way. So I would ask you to see if there's corruption there. All right, thank you.
And we have one final speaker card for Gato.
Hi, good morning, everybody. As you already know me, I'm being recording, documenting for like several months at the protest that LAPD is bringing to violence, and I'm glad the people is bringing up, all the flood cameras, all the investigation that you're faking, using gang stalkers, aka whatever they call it, because that's what you do, gang stalking on the street, attacking police, police attacking civilians, following them all day. Like now you're using gang stalkers again to follow protesters, activists, attacking them to their houses. I'm being victim of your crimes for like a long time. I watched you beating up that person. When the guy lost his eye, I was a witness, I recorded. When you beat up gang on a guy, the guy that broke his femur, how much violence it took for you to break a femur of a person, a 17-year-old. I was there when you were pepper spraying. I was there when you were brutalizing kids on the walkouts. I was there watching you when you, 6 of you, jump on a guy on the sidewalk. How much violence you're gonna bring in? The special orders. That was entrapment, because everybody received that entrapment orders on a text message when we were inside in their cattle already, when people was arrested on handcuffs, on like whatever you used to tie people, when you were beating up people, pushing people, batoning people. The other guy that lost his sight on the other side of the metro station when you was coming from work, walking down the street on Temple, you shot him, he lost his sight also. That's the second person that lost his sight. The lady that was there, was a lot of people that was walking from the metro station when you carry up people in there. A lot of people that has nothing to do with the protest, even though if it's a protest, was a peaceful protest. People what was outside, on the sidewalk, on the street, was shot up with pepper spray, gas, tear gas that you've been using since Vietnam. It's being expired for 20 years. All the people was brutalized with horses. I was in the other side when you attacked the person that is running for Congress, the Asian guy. That I was there when you pushed him like a pinball ball. Like all of you were pushing people out of the. What that has to do with the protest? We were on top of the bridge, documenting with press. You brutalized press, civilians, politicians that have nothing to do. People that is working from home from their jobs to home, like this lady with his kids. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of us. And then when we're documenting, you start running out of people. A lot of press, we were like arrested, people that was documenting, arrest that guy. Especially people was with cameras protesting. Now what you do with those flock cameras and everything that you do, the harassment you do to the fusion centers, the RTCCs that you use, there is 3 in LA that we know, you're using that to harass people, that documents. You don't want evidence all the crimes that you do, but then, yeah, you're asking for more money. There is like more money that goes to the LAPD than goes to the city, actually. When you're still harassing people in downtown, when we do like community like checks on and you're like criminalizing people that lives on the street, giving tickets, arresting more people. You guys, you're like a criminal organization. That's what it's called, gang stalker. Targeted harassment, LAPD, you're the only criminals in here in Los Angeles.
Madam Secretary?
We have no other cards to do. Submit card.
Okay, we are going,
What is your name, please?
pardon me, did you submit a card?
Yes,
I did.
What's your name?
Mia Renault.
I called that name, but she didn't speak. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Thank you for the opportunity to address the commission today, and my condolences on your loss of Deputy Vargas. My name is Mia Renault, as I said, and I'm here today as a resident of Mar Vista. I'm here also as an attorney who practiced immigration law for over a decade. I'm also here as a spouse married to a naturalized U.S. citizen.
and I'm here as the daughter and granddaughter of refugees. My mother was only 4 years old when she came to this country with her parents, who were victims of Nazi Germany's campaign of terror, arrest, and deportation. Growing up, it always baffled me how fearful my grandparents were of the police. As an American, I was raised to believe that the police are here to help protect and defend our rights. When I became an immigration lawyer, I gained a much clearer understanding of the role that local law enforcement plays in protecting vulnerable immigrant populations. Immigrants, particularly undocumented immigrants, are less likely to report when they are victims of crime. That is why it is so critical to maintain a clear separation between local law enforcement, between LAPD and federal immigration authorities. The Trump regime has transformed ICE into a massed, heavily militarized squad of thugs engaging in warrantless arrests, unlawful traffic stops, and unauthorized searches of homes. And they have taken both undocumented and documented immigrants and US citizens who they find in their warpath, have all been victims. ICE has demonstrated a pattern and practice of blatantly violating centuries of due process protections in this country. And if you've been watching the Congressional Oversight Committee hearings, you've seen testimony by ICE whistleblowers testifying to the fact that there are secret memos instructing the instructors who teach ICE officers to violate and ignore due process protections. In all of my years working with immigrants, I have never seen more of a resemblance to my grandparents' stories of living in constant fear of arbitrary arrest and deportation under the Nazi regime. Then, as now, information was power. Information provided by collaborators facilitated the deportation of Jews, homosexuals, political prisoners, the disabled, Romani, and many other disenfranchised minorities who were deemed unacceptable in the Nazi regime's vision of a supremacist society. By providing ICE access to flock surveillance technologies to assist with their warrantless kidnappings and detentions, the LAPD has become a modern-day collaborator. A collaborator with a regime of terror and intimidation on American soil.
Thank you. Your time is up. Thank you.
At a time when the federal government seems determined to undermine our faith in our democratic institutions, our law enforcement, and our judiciary, the LAPD is missing a critical opportunity to remind our community, the community that it serves and protects, that our fundamental rights and freedoms, our due process under the law, can survive this current democratic crisis. Thank you very much.
Thank you. A public comment has terminated, has ended. We're going to take a 10-minute break.
Madam President, please let the record reflect that we're now back in open session. We'll now hear consent agenda items 3A through F. Do any commissioners wish to pull any items? Commissioner Tabor?
Anyone wish to pull any?
No.
Commissioner Tabor? No. Commissioner Scobin?
I just had a couple of questions on 3A.
3A. Commissioner Shields? No. Commissioner Sanchez Gordon?
No, thank you.
Okay, we'll now take a vote for items 3B through F. Does any commissioner wish to make a motion to approve the recommended board actions?
I make a motion that we approve 3B to 3F.
Do we have a second?
I second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. And we have Executive Director Sibley for item 3A. Commissioner Scobin?
Yeah, I had just a couple of questions, really just a point of education. The outfit that was awarded received a score of 93.7. Do we know what areas, caused that score to be lowered?
I actually don't have that specific information to hand. They did score a high score and were qualified, but I don't have that particular information. I have Ms. Song from my staff here. I don't know if that's information she's able to provide. If you want to come up to the front, Ms. Song.
Yes, you may sit right there. That's fine. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Sonia. I'm under the policy section.
Would you please speak into the mic so we can hear you?
Hi, good morning. My name is Sonia Song, and I'm under the policy section under the Police Commission. And I apologize, I don't have that information, but that information, the RFP is published on the city's RAMP platform, which is the Regional Alliance Marketplace for Procurement. And some of the categories are, based on their ability to meet the proposal requirements. CID did go out and inspect the location and also provided a report to the evaluators. And it was the evaluators that came up with the final grading for the proposal. Some of the categories are like training for their staff, ability to meet the, stability in their company, to be able to be there within, the time frame or the whole time frame of the contract. In other words, longevity of the business, meeting the, like I said, the available space that they have in order to meet the needs of towing for the city, for their area, those types of items. I can provide you with a copy of the RFP for now, if you'd like, but unfortunately, the proposals themselves are not open just yet for public view until the contract negotiation is completed. That part doesn't become public until it's completed.
I just think it'd be good, just in the sake of always shooting for 100, to understand, where points were docked so that we can monitor it and see if there's an opportunity for improvement there. I was also curious, if I understood it correctly, there was only one bidder. Is that pretty standard? Just kind of curious.
It is, unfortunately, yes, and that's something that we've seen with previous RFPs, and there's a relatively low number of businesses that wish to apply for these contracts.
It might be interesting to ask CID to report back on things that could be done, maybe to stimulate interest in bidding for OPG franchises, because it's important. I think it's important to have competition, to always, get the very best.
Yeah, and to that end, when I first began to serve as executive director, we did increase the rates, with that being one of the goals, to attract further interest. But even with those increased rates, we're still seeing a low level of interest, but certainly it's something that we pay attention to.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Secretary?
Do we have a commissioner to approve the recommended board action for item 3A?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes. Thank you. We'll now hear agenda item 4A, the verbal presentation, introduction to Chief Information Officer Dean Giamella Lamas.
Let's see, it's a good afternoon now. Good afternoon, and thank you so much for being here. We're all very interested in listening to your verbal presentation, so I'm going to give you the floor.
Great, thank you so much. Good afternoon, President and Honorable Commissioners. My name is Dean Gialamas. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to read from a prepared statement because I don't want to forget what I really want to impart on all of you. I'm very honored to serve as the Los Angeles Police Department's Information Technology Bureau Commanding Officer and Chief Information Officer. It's truly a privilege to be here today. So you know a little bit about me. My civilian career has been dedicated entirely to law enforcement science, technology, and public safety. I hold dual bachelor's degrees, one in chemistry, one in biology, as well as a master's in forensic science. I'm trained as an international technology auditor. I have a Lean Six Sigma black belt for process improvement. And I'm a certified high-performance coach where I've focused quite a bit on leadership development and organizational performance. Over the span of my 34 years around government technology, I've had the opportunity to serve in executive roles both in Orange County and in Los Angeles County, most notably as Crime Laboratory Director and as CIO for both departments. And since 2004, my efforts have been focused on leading very large-scale technology organization-driven transformation in public safety. I've had the fortunate pleasure to lead several major initiatives, such as the $465 million Los Angeles Regional Interoperable Communication System, LA-RICS, advancing enterprise collaboration by transitioning 110,000 employees in Los Angeles County from traditional phones to new virtual technology, and supporting government continuity during COVID, where my teams were responsible for enabling virtual public meetings so the public could still engage with its electeds in a remote capacity way.
Mr. Jim Lamas, give me 1 second.
Sure.
Mr. Herman, you're being disruptive. Okay. You're being disruptive with your hand gestures. Okay. This is your first and last warning. Proceed.
Thank you. Throughout my career, my teams have delivered numerous operational efficiencies that I'm very proud of, and I have a record of saving millions of dollars in government with some of the improvements in service delivery. In addition to my operational roles, I've served as president of several regional, national, and international professional associations. I've served as a congressional and White House advisor on science and technology matters. And those experiences have really helped shape me and shape my perspective on public safety, governance, and innovation at scale. I'll admit, after retiring in July of 2024, I thought I had kind of closed all that chapter, and I was focusing on leadership training and executive coaching and speaking, but then I got a call from Chief McDonnell. It was a call for an opportunity to serve again. And I was really honored by that call, and especially at a time like this. To be honest, it was simply too meaningful and too important to pass up, which is why I'm here. Today, technology and law enforcement is not just about keeping systems running or lights on. It's about balancing mission readiness, and community trust. With the rise of cybersecurity threats, the rapid evolution of artificial intelligence, and the global stage that's coming to this region in Los Angeles, with World Cup, Super Bowl, the Olympics, technology is going to play a very critical role in this. It's going to be important for government confidence, public and officer safety, and even touch on national security. I want you to know that I step into this role with humility, a deep sense of responsibility, and a commitment to delivering value to this department, this commission, and the Angelenos that we serve. I would like to thank Chief McDonnell, First Assistant Chief Choi, and Assistant Chief Harrelson for the incredible opportunity and offer to be here. I want to thank each of you for your leadership, your oversight, and your continued commitment to ensuring that the LAPD remains one of the premier law enforcement organizations in this world. I look forward to serving our communities, and I very much look forward to working with all of you. Thank you for the time and ability for me to have an introduction, and I'm happy to take any questions you may have of me.
Thank you so very much. I think that we have questions from our commissioners, and I will start with Commissioner Shields.
Thank you, and great to meet you. Looking forward to working with you, and I think you summed up the important balance of the mission of public safety with also balancing that against community trust and making sure that the officers have the appropriate tools to keep the city safe while also not minimizing or undermining the community trust that is direly needed here in this city. One question I have, and I am glad to hear that you've had a track record of saving millions of dollars, because I think that's going to be an area where we really want to see that. And given the budget that comes to the department, and the number of vendors vying to work with, one of the largest police departments in the nation. Do you have kind of a background or full understanding of all the ethical obligations, how to deal with vendors, conflicts of interest, things like that, so that we make sure that the vendors that are chosen to work with this department are ones that are providing the best value to our community, and not anything else?
Yes, absolutely. And it's a great question, and I know one that's been perhaps maybe raised a concern in previous past situations. For me, integrity is one of the most important things that I can offer you. I teach leadership. I've taught it for over 20 years. There's a difference between ethics and integrity, and I do joke to some extent about this, that ethics are sometimes meaningless, because ethics is knowing the difference between right and wrong, and knowing that difference is not enough. It's integrity. It means you're practicing it when no one's watching. And that's what I can assure you that I can offer to this commission and this department. Our vendors are very important partners in what we do, but there's definitely a boundary that has to take place with dealing with vendors. So one thing that you'll find with me, and I have a history of this, is I don't engage in lunches with vendors. If I do, I pay for my own meal, for example. So, I have a very clear and distinct boundary and border about when that happens. Vendors for me are important partners, but I also believe that we as an organization need to work with them, but also control when we deal with our vendors and when they have access to the department in terms of internal controls. So I can assure you that from my standpoint, I know where those boundaries are. I can elaborate more, and I can even talk to you offline if you have some more desire to learn about what my habits might be in terms of dealing with vendors. I can tell you right out the gate, I've told all the vendors that I would like to have 2 to 3 months to get used to drinking from the fire hose right now of coming into a very large and different organization than what I'm used to. I can tell you the span of control is not a concern for me. My span of control was about 10 times this size in terms of budget and staff, having worked for the Sheriff's Department. So this is not an uplift for me. This is an easy challenge in terms of the opportunity that exists. But when it comes to our vendors, I'm asking them to give me some time to understand what's going on in the department. I want to understand what our department needs are. I want to understand what some of the community concerns are. Clearly around some of the technology that we're in the middle of implementing and will be implementing, and then work through some of the challenges then with those vendors on how to approach that. So the vendors that I'm choosing to meet with now are the vendors that we're in direct contract or communication with, work that's going on. The vendors that want to engage with us and have other products, I'm asking that they give me some time before we engage.
Wonderful. Thank you for that very thoughtful and thorough response. One thing I know that the department has been in the transition of kind of modernizing a lot of tech, and also kind of, trying to go paperless to a certain extent. Do you see that in the future? I know some officers always tell me, like, I still need to drive a document, like a handwritten document, to a place to do certain tasks. Is there some end in sight for them in terms of modernization?
Oh, absolutely. And I can tell you, when it comes to technology, I'll use 2 visuals, right? Most people go to work, and from 9 to 5, this is the technology that's given to them. And then from 5 to 9, when they go home at night, they have this technology. And we need to make a change to that. We've been very fortunate in this department where all of our officers are issued iPhones. There's technology that's in the hand of officers now, and what we're looking at in terms of some of the things we're doing with our computer-aided dispatch, our record management systems. We're looking at automating processes. We're looking at, of course, automated ticketing, electronic ticketing. So that's a project that the department is working on. There is It's going to be very difficult in an organization of this size with the budgetary and personnel challenges that we face, not only in terms of the current state of where we're at, but just the future coming with all these events coming to Los Angeles. I truly believe that technology is going to be the tool that is going to be what helps us get over that edge. We are not going to be able to hire enough officers. We're not going to be able to achieve the budgetary levels that we're going to need to get through that time period if we don't use technology. And I will tell you, when Chief McDonald reached out for the potential opportunity, I knew this was going to be a challenge. I knew there were going to be a number of things that were going to be perhaps to some insurmountable. But I'm up for that challenge. It's something that excites me, and it's something that I take with a great deal of honor about helping move this department forward to help the communities that we serve. So I'm excited about that.
Wonderful, thank you, and I'm excited to work with you in the future.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Tabor, any questions? Any comment?
As I was listening to your responses, I was trying to figure out how not to say this, but I'll just let it float here. So part of, as I'm understanding and listening to you, part of your responsibility will be to perfect the spin that the public gets about what is going on in Los Angeles Police Department. Specifically, can you tell us about your experiences creating message, creating a cultural context to those messages beyond just the technology?
Sure. I want to just say that I and if I can have permission to be transparent,
please transparent.
I don't want to leave the impression that my job is to create a spin about what we necessarily need to have for the community. It's really about transparency, and it's about really understanding what the technology can and can't do, what we need to be sensitive to in terms of responding to citizens in the community who have legitimate concerns about where technology is being used and how it's being used. So I think it's really more a conversation and a lot around the understanding and less about a spin, if I can just be, direct with you. And it's really around the idea that if I can understand what some of the community concerns are, and having listened to several commission meetings, I have a pretty good idea of some of those issues that are coming up. It's really trying to balance where we need to go with technology in order to advance law enforcement, to advance public safety, and to protect citizens, but balancing the rights that our citizens have in terms of where that technology is used and how it's used, and perhaps maybe even most importantly, what is done with that information. Now, some of those policy decisions will be outside my control. I can give recommendations. Ultimately, I have a command staff and a mayor's office and a commission that will, guide where that will be. But my job is to be that interpreter for you. And I think one of the things I pride myself in is I'm good at converting science into English, because many times technology can come at us with acronyms and terms that are difficult to understand. And I think my job is to kind of put that into plain English. I hope that, my history of leadership training and skills is enough. And I think you'll see over time in dealing with me that the communication will be clear and direct, be transparent with you and the citizens. But at the same time, there are going to be certain directives and missions, I think, that we need to move forward in order to protect those that we serve and those that visit our cities.
So talk to me a little bit more about the adaptive use of technology in the field. What are you thinking short term? And I'll give you this example. When we talk about the World Cup coming here, it won't be just English and Spanish. There'll be some 50 different languages spoken. What's the capacity currently within our department as you've assessed? And and how do you see utilizing technology to make sure we communicate with not just our visitors, but our currently indigenous communities that will come out of the woodwork to see folks from their home country?
Fantastic question, and I almost joke with you, if I may. I don't know if you're watching my emails this morning, because I had an email on that very subject. So communication is twofold, I think, for us at LAPD. First and foremost, we need to make sure that our officers can communicate with each other and with our other law enforcement partners in the region. So right now, we have limited interoperability with many of our other police departments I'm talking about local police departments, not our federal partners necessarily, but our folks like at LA Sheriff and folks at local police departments that exist. We want to enhance the radio capability, so we have a big project underway now about upgrading our radio systems, and this will be adding additional channels and additional ability to have interoperability with those that we serve side by side. One of the areas around language and dialect is I'm looking at some technology right now. In fact, I'm just now scheduling a meeting on the very issue, and that is there's technology that allows iPhone applications and small devices that will allow us to communicate in over 200 languages. And the beauty of the device, as one example of technology, is that you can be completely agnostic. You don't even have to speak to someone, because what someone can do is look at the phone, you can give it to them, they can pick their country flag, and as you speak, it's instantaneously live transmitting what you're saying in that other person's language, and you can have actually a direct communication with someone live using the device. It can be used audibly or visually, and I think, as one example, when we're talking about inviting the world to Los Angeles, we have to be able to communicate with those individuals. And with the limited use of interpreters that we may have on the department, there's no way we would account for hundreds of languages that we'll need. That's an example of being able to use technology in a way that allows us to engage with our visitors and the citizenry without having to put additional burdens on our officers of the community.
One of the things outside the department, but in the community that we've talked about prior to my coming on the commission was engaging community knowledgeables who are both linguistically and culturally aware and available, because they live here in Los Angeles and they're familiar with the surrounding communities and neighborhoods and transit routes and what have you. Do you see in your space where we can match the technology we choose to use with the community knowledgeables that are available to us as both residents or visitors to the city?
Yeah, I see that as a great opportunity. It may be beyond the scope of what maybe my role as CIO would be, but I think bringing in technology that allows our officers and our department to be able to work with community representatives and then those who are visiting is a great way to marry technology, community interest and exposure, along with being able to connect with our visitors. So that's a great example.
And then there is this challenge that we have, this notion of over surveillance. Describe how you think we might, in your short term here, how we might effectively utilize a drone fleet or remote camera operations from static positions to provide greater public safety and awareness.
Sure. Well, I know camera systems, ALPRs, the automated license plate readers, are a very big topic with the community, and certainly one for us in the department as well. I think first and foremost, we have to really make sure that we have very clear delineations on who owns that data and where that data can be accessed. I mean, at a fundamental level, from my perspective as a CIO, that's one of the primary things that we need to address. We're working with vendors on that issue right now, and I know that the commission has even addressed some of those issues, in recent meetings. It is literally ongoing. It's ongoing within our department. It's ongoing with the city attorney's office. It's ongoing with our own policy makers within the department. So fundamentally, we need to really understand who owns the data and where the data is accessed. From there, you can build in control. So you can limit controls as to where data flows, who has access to it, and when. There's also then the auditing side of things. So even when controls are put in place, there could be systems or situations where individuals may have access where they shouldn't. And that's where audit and controls comes into place. Now, that may be resolved with technology. It may be resolved with personnel effort. Time will tell what that is. But those are all on my radar. I can't tell you where we're at because I'm literally still gathering that information myself. But I can tell you it is absolutely on my radar and is one of the priorities that I'm working on as I'm getting introduced into the department.
I look forward to more conversations with you. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Scobin?
Welcome.
Thank you, I think.
I echo the sentiment of my fellow commissioners. Appreciate you taking on this role. I think it's incredibly critical. As you know, we're facing some unprecedented times in this city. We all have to meet this moment. As you heard earlier from several members of the public, many in our community are facing unprecedented fear due to federal actions and LAPD's actual or perceived role in it. We have upcoming global events, as you mentioned, and the department is facing significant staffing shortages, just to name a few. I believe technology will be key. It'll be key for the department to be the best version of itself. I don't know of any organization looking to be the leader in what they do that's not looking at how technology can help them accomplish that. And I believe LAPD needs to do the same. I believe we must lead in technology and community trust. I look forward to working with you on all things technology, from ALPRs to our much needed upgraded 911 systems. One thing I do want to say, I think it's critical for us to work on, and to me this is in the spirit of transparency, is how the department obtains technology. There's a formal RFP process, and then there's also acquisition through the foundation. And I think we need to really look at that and understand how that happens, and make sure that we're above board and transparent on everything. And the other thing I'll leave you with as you embark on this position, and it's something that was very clear to me through my process of being confirmed, is we must listen. We must listen to the community, because this beautiful city has a very diverse group of people who call Los Angeles home. Everyone has very different needs, wants, positions on things. And it's important for us to listen, because I believe that our guiding star is the same. We want a safe community for all Angelenos. And I think technology will play a very important part in how we accomplish that. And listening to members of our community that may be skeptical or have concerns about how that technology is used, we need to meet those moments head on and address them, because I think at the end of the day, we should have very common ground on how this technology is used, because at the end of it, it's to make the community, all community members, safer. So appreciate you once again taking on this role. Look forward to working with you, and welcome.
Thank you. And I will say, Commissioner Scobin, I fully understand and agree with the idea of listening. Kind of stealing from Stephen Covey and his 7 habits, one of the famous ones is seek first to understand and then to be understood. And I think that understand piece requires that very attentive and empathetic listening to what those concerns are. I know you've heard as a commission many of those concerns, so I do look forward to working with you and getting a download, if you will, on what many of those concerns have been, because that helps me at least shape direction and shape some of the decisions then that we will be coming back to you for support. So I look forward to that as well.
Thank you, Commissioner. Well, I want to thank the chief for bringing on Mr. Dean Giamalis. You certainly are up for the challenge. I'm very impressed. And you certainly do have a very broad experience in technology and, most importantly, public safety. You've touched on key things as the questions, and I second everything that my fellow commissioners have said. They've brought up questions that are very important, not only to the commissioners, but to our citizens of the city. And, public comment, you've mentioned that you've seen public comment, so you know what the city is concerned about. You know what the citizens' concerns about. They're broad, but they're all, for the most part, the most important things for them. So I'm happy that you were able to take time to look at what the public is saying that come here. You also talked about issues having to do with language and not only in the community, in light of the fact that we are going to be opening our doors to the world, but also communications within the department, within the officers, and the magical use of their phone to be able to speak to one another. the use of technology in our community. You've also heard the community's concerns and their concern of there's overreach and that there is a use of technology that doesn't benefit them. So I'm glad that your experience in technology and your concern to public safety will help address those issues. And I think one of the most important things here is your emphasis on integrity. And I think that word has to reach every corner of our department, every corner of our city, and also the minds and hearts of our community. I think they want to see integrity. They want to see a high level of integrity of within the department and of the commissioners. We hear that every week. So you bring this vast amount of experience, and it seems like you are up to the challenge. It is challenging, and as commissioners here and with the chief, we look forward really to working with you, to learning from you. I'm very excited to moving into that next step of technology, and I think it brings so many benefits for our city, but also be mindful that that technology also has to be reined in. And we as commissioners have to look at it seriously to see if there are any problems with it as it affects our community. So I too welcome you again, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
And good luck to you.
I'm excited, and I look forward to working with all of you, and I hope that my presence here will make not only the chief proud, but you proud as well, that you brought me on board, and we can help move our department and the city forward.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Item 4B has been moved to a future date. The commission will now recess into closed session to discuss agenda items 5A1, 5B1, 5B2 in accordance with Government Code 54957.
Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Okay, the commission has returned from closed session. I'll ask Executive Director Mr. Sibley to report out on our closed session items.
Thank you, Commissioner. So for item 5A1, which is officer-involved shooting case number 014-25, the regular meeting of the Board of Police Commissioners on April 7th, 2026, during the closed session, the board made the following findings by a 4-0 vote. For tactics, administrative disapproval, 4 police officers 2. For drawing and exhibition of a firearm, in policy, no further action, 4 police officers 2. And for lethal use of force, in policy, no further action, 1 police officer 2. And then for items 5B1 and 5B2, the items were adjudicated, and that concludes the report out.
Thank you, and that concludes our agenda for today. I will move that we adjourn our meeting. Is there a second? Okay, all in favor say aye. Okay, motion passes. Thank you.